Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to episode 9 of So You Want to Be a Star in the Music Business. I like to call this segment today The Sound of Music, and for a good reason. Mitch and I have been talking about a few stories and situations, and one that we thought was important at this point of our series to mention in terms of the quality of music that people put out. So I'll just have Mitch basically explain the story, and then I'll follow up with why we call this The Sound of Music.
Even though we're in a new era of digital music, the story begins about 25 years ago when I was a mere pup and I was shopping some songs to music publishers in Los Angeles. I had received some interest from a few of them. I went into one guy's office, the very first publisher I had ever met. In those days, of course, we were using cassettes, and demo tapes did not have to be perfected as they do now. They didn't have to be a finished product. But I did have a professional singer on it, and it was a pretty good demo for what was going around those days. He welcomed me. He threw the cassette tape in his machine, turned it on, and started talking to me and asking me about my life and how my trip was getting to his office, if I had any trouble, and what things I like to do in my life. And the music's playing in the background. And about, 45 seconds later, he just kind of wheels himself over to the machine, hits stop, and moves to the second song and puts it on. There were 3 songs on the cassette. And did another 45 seconds, and he continues to talk with me, not particularly listening in detail. And goes to the third song, does the same thing, turns it off. And I had to ask. I said, "Excuse me, were you even listening to the songs? What do you think?" And he said, "My philosophy, listening to about 1,000 songs a week, is if I'm going to represent a song, it's got to capture my attention in the first 30 seconds while I'm not paying attention to it."
Now, say that again, just to make sure they got that. That's the key point.
Right? It's got to capture my attention in the first 30 seconds, even if I'm not listening to it. He said, "Be honest with you, it doesn't mean your songs aren't good, and it doesn't mean I don't like them. But I've got to sell it to people who also are not going to be paying attention and who want to be blown away because they're going to be listening to the songs that I promise them are the best things I have available for their artist." And of course, this man was presenting the songs to the record labels for a particular star's album cut or maybe a new artist's breakthrough opening song. So that was his comment, and I took it to heart. It kind of blew me away. I had never thought of it in those terms. But now that's all I think about because I get it.
And it makes complete sense. Now, can you imagine for this story, he's talking about cassette tapes and how hard it must be to skip through thousands of songs on a tape, and now everything is digital. So if you get an email, imagine somebody's email inbox, and the amount of CDs that are still being mailed into different labels and different producers. So just imagine if your song is not capturing attention within 30 seconds, it's not a good chance that it's going to make it.
And along with that, just one other comment, it also means that when you sing or write a song and produce it, and it sounds just as good as anything R. Kelly or Usher would have done, the point is it's just as good, and they're already in the business, so they don't need you.
Right.
So what are you doing that is uniquely you and better than what they're doing? And wow, that's a hard standard to live up to, isn't it?
And until you get to that point, it's important to not be lazy in the studio and not just put out your work that's not your best. I was in a session, and I have a lot of respect for singers, songwriters, MCs, arrangers, and just the importance of when you keep going over the line by line, say that note again, enunciate your words, say this again. It takes so much time for people to really perfect the song. So I really have an appreciation for every single note, every single lyric and word, and how important it is. So if you imagine just how many other people are doing that, just make sure that you're really going all in when it comes to the details and the specifics, and whether you auto tune a note or whether you leave it solo or whether you bring out the leads and pull back the leads. So every single part of that is important.
And as we always end with, keep the dream going. Don't get so frustrated. We're giving you both positive and negative ideas, but we just want to make you the next biggest star. It would give us no greater pleasure than to know that we helped raise your standards and made you even better than you probably already are.
That's right. And I guess that reminds me one shout out based on the quality of music in terms of having your songs reviewed by people who are either in the industry or people that are big fans of music. Just try to, if at all possible, make sure that you get your music listened to and reviewed and critiqued by people that have some substance in the industry and that are quality. And if not, if they're a fan, fans count too. So even if you don't have any music background, fans are important. So make sure you do have somebody review your music. So small plug and shout out to Demo Entertainment Group and their demo review service called yourdemoreview.com. So there are options out there to have your music submitted and have professionals critique it. So you don't spend a lot of time in the studio going over that note if the song is not something you need to focus on in the first place, and save you some time or let you know at least you're going in the right direction.
Okay. On that note, have a great day, and we'll see you on the next episode.
And again, I'm Kevin Curtin.
I'm Mitch Weiss.
Check us out at www.MWEntGroup.com.
Facebook is MWEntGroup. And
Follow us on Twitter,
which is
@_MWEG.
all right. Hope you'll check it out, and hope to see you next time.
Next time.